Hello and welcome to our latest episode of Morgana Radio, where I, your host, Morgana Ray, interview the world's most fascinating thought leaders on money, love, and magic. And today we are going way over into the magical side of things with our guest, Brian Ridgway. I am so excited to introduce him to you. I met him almost a year ago, and from our first conversation, I knew that he was different, and he's like a brother from my out there planet. He has really tremendous talent, and it comes from a place that I really trust, which is his own personal experience. And he has the case studies and the results and the raving fans and clients to support whatever weird shit he's going to say in the next half hour. So let me give you a little bit of info about Brian. Brian became who he is today because he was gifted with a life of horrific abuse and severe low self-esteem and addiction and homelessness. And he healed himself and he turned it around. And today he's known to his friends and clients, including me. I see him this way too. We all call him the spell breaker. He is living his dream in Hawaii, working with thousands of clients, leading high-end retreats, and living his dream, helping thousands of people around the world live theirs too. And today's topic is beyond business success to total personal freedom. What you will learn, because Brian helps people dissolve the illusion of problems. I want to say that again. He helps you dissolve the illusion of problems so that you can step fully into your higher self and create the body, health, business, wealth, relationships, life, and world of your dream. And your 3 takeaways from today's interview are going to be, you're going to learn the theory of constraints and how that solves every problem. You are going to learn how you can step into your freedom in a moment, any moment of pain, sadness, or fear. And you're also going to learn why meditation is probably a total waste of your time. So welcome, Brian, Spellbreaker. Hi.
Hello, Morgana. I am excited, and I enjoyed listening. You don't have to stop. I'll just listen a few more minutes if you want.
So how did you make that shift from homeless, addict, miserable, unhappy, low self-esteem to be this radiantly happy, helpful guy who has it going on today?
Well, all overnight successes take 30, 40 years. And my story is no different. I spent 30 plus years, tens of thousands of hours studying every type of law of attraction, personal development. I was fanatical in multiple religions that said that they had the answer. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars documented. We're doing this on the internet, so I have to say that. Documented that hundreds of thousands that I put into studying, investigating, practicing, diving into every approach, and my life got worse. And then I had one moment where everything that I had ever learned came together in a flash. Everything in what I had learned that seemed conflicting just fell away, and I had the experience. Everybody's talking about infinite possibilities. Everybody's talking about us living in an energetic universe. All of us living in the woo-woo weird shit. We talk about how we're all one, and there's not that much living it. Well, I had this moment where I stepped into the experience of it, and I realized sitting homeless, hopeless, suicidal, I had scraped off a little bit of money. Me, and I was married at that time, my pregnant wife and 2 kids, all of us in a 1-room, nasty little dumpy hotel room, and barely enough money to eat a fast food meal and pay 1 more night of rent. And I had this moment where, wait a minute, if there's no physical universe here, then there's actually no reason why in the next millisecond I have to still be where I am. Like literally there's no continuity other than what I think and believe that I know. And I'm even going to say that again because that's for somebody. There's no continuity other than what I think and believe that I know. So if I quit knowing that I was homeless and suicidal and desperate and stuck in this situation, I wouldn't be. And literally less than an hour later, I got the invitation to take over marketing for a company and told that I needed to be on an all expense paid cruise in the Caribbean 8 days later. And it was just that moment to give a synopsis of that big answer to your question. What was it? It was that moment of realization and experience of letting in infinite possibilities rather than holding it as a mental idea.
World of difference.
Literally.
So, what is this? I think you called it theory of constraints. What is that?
Yeah, okay. Now this is a big topic and I have about a 15-minute rant. So I want you to rein me in. I'm going to do my best to make this a 2 or 3 minute answer. This is kind of the core of what I share today. And I just watch the people having miracles, people that have been in self-help and personal development for decades. When they get this concept, this is where it starts to shift. So I don't want to shortcut it, but again, just rein me in if you need to. All right. So the theory of constraints is a ultra high level business concept up like the Six Sigma stuff. This is stuff that multi-billion-dollar corporations are wrestling with to integrate and understand. It is deep, it's complex, and we can simplify it down into one example because it's just as applicable to life. In my world, there's no difference between business and life. There's just what is. And so if you look at your life as a race, you have trained for the race. If you're listening to Morgana and me today, you almost definitely have spent a lot of money and time on personal development, self-help, money, business, success courses. So you're training for the race, and the day of the race has come, and you've got the perfect little toe shoes on that are tailored for your feet. You got perfect toe socks put on perfectly with no wrinkles. You got your Speedos on. You've shaved every hair off your head and body to eliminate any wind drag. You've trained with the best running coach for the last 5 years, and you're on the perfect day, on the perfect positioning, on the starting line with the wind at your back, and you are just ready to kick ass and win the race. Every preparation has been made except for one thing. You got a truck parked on your foot. You ain't going to win the race. In fact, all of the preparation, all the money, all the training, everything you've put into getting yourself ready for this race is almost or literally pointless and worthless until you get the truck off your foot. So I like to say you can take every money, business, and success course known to man. But if you have a deep core anchoring belief that you can't have, shouldn't have, don't deserve, you either ain't going to get it or you're going to get it and make yourself pay. So the theory of constraint says that when you remove the truck off your foot, you have a chance. And if you remove the truck off your foot, even more incredibly, more amazingly, more wow, awesome, how awesome is this? All of a sudden, all the preparation and training and practices and tools and stuff that you've done to prepare actually gets either turned on or multiplied. And so what I start with people is looking at what is their primary hidden core constraint, because until we remove that, all we're doing is sitting and envisioning crossing the finish line while we're ignoring the truck parked on our freaking foot.
Amen, brother. It's so funny when I hear you, and this was my first impression of you, is like we're mirrors with, different genders and different language, but the absolute same core philosophy. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So what do people listening today need to learn to get the truck off their foot?
Excellent question. I just want to acknowledge, Morgana, there's something awesome about our chemistry. You just in your presence, I was able to give that more succinctly than ever before. So I give you credit for that. Our mirrors here. So here's what I would say. If you want to understand what I propose to be your hidden core constraint, if you're willing to say, I'm not living life 100% exactly ideally the way that I really want. I'm not going to say my life is messed up or anything. And maybe you're not homeless, desperate, suicidal, and stuck. But whatever your homeless is, whatever your stuck is, whatever your glass ceiling might be, if you're willing to accept the possibility that you might have a constraint and that you might not know what it is, because if you have spent a lot of time and money and energy on personal development and self-help and you haven't gotten the freedom you want, then there has to be something, right? And if you accept total personal responsibility, if you understand the universe's energy, then you know that you're actually the cause of it. It's not those forces outside of you that we've all been trained to think they are. So what is the core hidden constraint? I propose that it's the exact same thing for everybody. Now, once we identify and remove that core hidden constraint, we can move to the others. But here's the one thing that you got to get. Einstein said, and a lot of people say Einstein is the smartest man that's ever lived or one of the smartest in modern times, depending on your opinion. Smart dude. He said, there ain't no universe. There is no physical universe. There's no such thing as matter. What we're dealing with is light, energy vibrating at specific frequencies, and we have played this game in such a way that, in effect, we've lowered those vibrations to tune into them so that we experience it as physical matter, but there's no physical matter here. When they asked Einstein, how's it feel to be the smartest man alive? He said, you'll have to ask Tesla. Well, interestingly, his contemporary Tesla said the exact same thing. If you want to understand the universe, you got to quit thinking in terms of nuts and bolts. You got to think in terms of frequency and vibration. Well, all of us spiritual people, we're talking about frequency and vibration, but what would happen when you said, I'm going to live my life as if it was true. I'm going to quit talking about it, quit theorizing about it, and quit, laying back on the hood with friends and having deep conversations about it. I'm actually going to live it. No physical universe. All of my excuses are bullshit. All of them. All of my programming is bullshit. All of my beliefs. Oh boy, I don't know if I'm ready to. What's on TV now? No, we're going to stop that. We're going to actually stay with it. All my beliefs are bullshit. Everything that's founded on physical universe, out the window. What's possible now? So when you step into that willingness, that's what actually cracks the door. So I'm going to tie this back and wrap this rant up with what I started with. When you let go of what you think you believe that you know, when you get that the only thing that perpetuates all the way from chronic halitosis to gravity, everything in between continues because you think and believe that you know it. Now, I personally like gravity. I am enjoying this. So I'm not going to deal with my beliefs on gravity. I just accept that they're there. I still accept that it's just beliefs, though. And I accept that if I didn't have layers upon layers of belief about gravity and how it works and what it means and why it's necessary, I'd probably be floating. So when you let that go and you let the willingness happen, those infinite possibilities actually rush back in and things start to change really fast.
So I'm going to need to bring you, Anti-Gravity Man, back to earth a little bit, because I have a sense that there will be people listening to this who think you just went off the deep end, because you probably are the way outest there person that I've had on this show. So could you give us some concrete, real life examples of client results? Because what you're saying sounds great. Let's bring it to earth. Show us the proof.
Awesome. That's one of my favorite questions, and I love the way you phrase it. Well, the first proof is me, that I was sitting in a one-room hotel without any money, without any hope. Literally, if I could have afforded a gun, I might have stuck it in my mouth. My kids were my anchor. I wanted to end my life, and literally the minute that I let go and accepted the totality of this truth, it instantly changed everything. Literally, I was catapulted. In 67 days, I went from homeless to living the dream here in Hawaii. But in a matter of seconds, I went from totally frozen, stuck, and suicidal to emotionally free. And here's one example. I was I'm a part of a large business conference, a conscious business networking system. And I was at one of their conferences. And I'd been told over and over and over, man, you just got it. You got to meet this person. You got to meet this person. She can help you with your marketing. Terry Levine, who has now become a friend of mine. And she is kind of legendary in that circle as a marketing person. And this guy was telling the whole week, he's like, you got to meet her. You got to meet her. You got to meet her, man. You got to meet her. So finally he dragged me in. I sat down with her and I looked at her, and my spidey sense, whatever it is that I do that helps people, I looked at her and I knew she was in pain. I knew she was suffering. And she said, so how can I help you? And I said, I got the weirdest feeling that I'm here to help you. What are you dealing with? And she told me, she started to tell me about her disease. And the part of me, the higher self, like I don't want to go down this road too far, but I have a different perspective on the higher self than most people do, showing up as me. So I don't see the distinction that a lot of people make between it. But at any rate, my higher self, that part of me, spoke and said a word that I won't repeat on this broadcast to not freak out your listeners, but I said, you don't have no blank disease. And she busted out crying. And interestingly, the guy who connected us, he thought she was going to give me some pearls of marketing wisdom. So he had set his recorder down when he walked me in the room. He set his recorder down, recording, and walked out of the room. So I worked with her for 9 minutes. At the end of 9 minutes, a disease that she had called reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which is the most painful disease known to man, 60%, according to the McGill Pain Scale Index, to make it specific, the most painful disease known to man, 60% suicide rate, incurable, really basically untreatable. The only thing that they have, the medical system has, the established medical system in America has to deal with this is ketamine, which is an elephant tranquilizer, which basically dissolves your organs. And it's the only thing they have. And so it's the only thing that will touch the pain. Morphine won't even touch the pain. So again, 60% suicide rate, no cures. I spent 9 minutes with her, and at the end of 9 minutes, her disease was gone. Now, she had spent $800,000 on every type of medical treatment, alternative treatment known to man, and 9 minutes of me sharing this with her the way that I do. Not just the words, but this that I'm sharing with you right now. 9 minutes, the disease was gone. A year and a half later, it's still gone. I don't focus on medical stuff. I don't focus on health stuff. I help people with their relationships and their scoliosis. Incurable, untreatable scoliosis goes away. I sit down with someone on their couch for 30 minutes to talk about their life, and the next day their cancer tumor is gone. It just freaks me out completely.
I get it, because it's all the same root cause.
Exactly. It's all the same root cause. When your core primary constraint is that there's a physical universe, and that's deeply embedded on every level, then your outcomes on every topic are dictated by that. You're dealing, Newtonian physics. We're little meat chunks separate in a giant machine that's going to grind us to bits, and it's fate, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it. It's total bullshit. And almost everybody on the planet is still either completely or somewhat living according to that paradigm, when we're spiritually talking about how it's actually we're all one, there's only energy and infinite possibilities. So I'm going to close this by saying, Morgana, it freaks me out every day. Every day it freaks me out. And it kind of doesn't surprise me anymore how much it constantly surprises me. But 50-something thousand people in 83 countries that I have been fortunate, blessed, and gifted to be able to work with and touch, I see the same thing. They say, I've spent X tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands on medical, personal development, etc. And somehow this crazy stuff that Brian does broke me free in an hour. So for those who think this is too far out woo-woo, I would say my experience is that this far out woo-woo is actually the most practical, pragmatic thing that we can apply to our lives. It makes the difference where nothing else does.
I get it. I totally get it. So one of my favorite points is I think your second promise for this interview is what about people who are in that like black place of pain and fear and despair? In my experience, when somebody is in that state, and I'm not a sadist, but it's like I'm so excited because that's like the easiest moment of dramatic transformation. So what is your response?
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Because I do believe in 100% total personal responsibility. It's another one of those points. And feel free to rein me in. I'm going to make a couple points, and I could get off track, so you pull me back if I do. We talk about how we're all one. We talk about how it's all energy. We talk about how this is a spiritual universe. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And then we immediately go back, almost all of us, go right back to defending our limitations and arguing for our limitations again. And we talk about how we're all one, and then we want to kill those who say that their one is different than our one. It doesn't make any damn sense. And so if we're going to take and understand that the universe is energy, it's one energy, it's a limitless, perfect energy where there can't be any mistakes. And if I'm that energy, then there can't be any random events. There's no separation. So I am actually responsible. Doesn't mean blame. Doesn't mean fault. Doesn't mean flaw. I don't believe in those things that have no relevance, no reality for me whatsoever. Responsibility does, because responsibility means the ability to respond in the moment. Most of us learn responsibility with a little bit of blame and condemnation, and we automatically emotionally make that association when it's offered. Let that go. Responsibility, the ability to respond. Here I am creating my life, and all of a sudden I find myself in hell. Disease, emotional pain, feeling abandoned, a relationship just ended, I just got the x-rays, whatever it might be. I looked at my bank account again, whatever it might be. In that moment of pain is your moment of miracle. If you literally just look at it and say, I see it. What if it's irrelevant? What is possible? And I have a set of tools, so I'm just going to share one tool right now. If you're in the deepest pain, if you're in the deepest agony, mental, emotional, physical, doesn't matter. I promise you this, it's not being caused by what's happening. Cause and effect is the biggest lie. It's the biggest hoax on the planet today. There is no cause and effect. That's not how this universe works. So let that go. Let go of the because first. Don't know what it is. Don't call it a disease. Don't call it a problem. Don't call it the worst. Don't know what it is. Wow, I'm having this experience. And begin to breathe deeply and smile. And I'm going to take a quick moment. I'm going to do this in a very accelerated way because I know we have a certain number of minutes for this talk, Morgana, and I do want to get this across to you who's listening right now or looking eye to eye with me. Begin to breathe deeply, just a little tiny bit more deeply than you normally were. Inhale a little bit more and exhale a little more than you were. Make the length of breath about the same duration. Move in a little bit more air than you were. And then just iron out any wrinkles so that there's no stops or gaps or pauses at the peak or the trough or anywhere along the way. Just in through the nose, out through the mouth. Same duration, in and out. Little more air in and out than usual. And then put a little smile on your face. You do that for 3 minutes. And I literally promise you that whatever you're dealing with will have already shifted. I didn't say you would sprout wings and your liver would, turn into gold. I just said it will shift. You can expand that. There's other things you can do, but that one practice will take you out of pain and back into peace in less than 3 minutes every time, no matter what the topic is.
So that confuses me a little bit, by the way. Totally digging this. But you also made the point that meditation is a complete waste of time, but isn't focusing on the breath a form of meditation?
Awesome.
Huh?
I love the way you think. Thank you. And my statement about meditation perhaps being a waste of time is a very controversial statement on purpose. And I want to really clarify what I mean by that. So we'll clarify that seeming conflict, and I'm going to clarify what I mean by meditation probably being a waste of time for the person listening, okay, right now. So most of your listeners, and correct me if I'm wrong, are, they're all human.
We hope.
Okay.
And by the way, those listening, this is also being recorded on video, and more info and links and downloads will be available at morganaradio.com, so you can go deeper in this journey with Brian. And I know you have a free gift, so we're going to find out about that. And the links and everything's going to be at morganaradio.com, and you can see how we're dressed. And Brian is wearing his what I call his guru costume, although that is apparently how he just dresses. So, okay, back to the topic at hand. So what do you mean about meditation being a waste of time?
All right, so here's what it boils down to. The vast majority of what we're being taught, well, actually, everything we've ever been taught in my paradigm, I created to be taught. Now, this is going all the way out to the fringes of the woo-woo, but if we're going to embrace infinite possibilities, if we're going to embrace the fact that there's no physical universe here, all of our assumptions are gone anyway. And I follow it out to the end. I
And
follow it.
I want to insert something.
Please.
Every experience that we have with the physical universe, and my very belief that Brian exists, or that my computer exists, or that the internet exists, or that even I exist, it all exists in my head.
That's right.
So outside of what I experience translated through my head, my physical experiences don't exist except that my brain tells me and sends me chemicals that give me feelings, but I only know I have the feelings because I have a brain. So really, truly, since nothing exists that we can verify outside of our own consciousness, yeah, this entire physical universe could easily be just a hallucination, like a really wild hallucinatory trip.
Yeah, and that's what Einstein said basically, and I harmonize with that. And there's, if we're going to go really into the freaky stuff, there's a blending when we look at the brain and the mind and the head, as you said, and then we say, well, let's get out of the physical hypnosis and let's move to where we're taking in the head and the brain on every level. It is consciousness, it's mind, spirit, soul, energy, and it shows up at the level we're normally focused on as a physical chunk of meat. And it's all of the above. Okay, so it's projecting on every level, and we are basically hypnotized and have hypnotized ourselves almost exclusively to the physical, to where when we get any spiritual insight, it's the rare moment for most of us. All right, so back to this meditation thing. I'll formulate it as a question. Would you prefer, because there are those who do, would you prefer to stop the hell that you've been creating, maybe go into a cave for the next 30 years, sit down cross-legged, drink rainwater off of a little rock corner and eat the bugs that pass by, and do that for the next 30 years, mastering the quieting of your mind so that you no longer have to experience suffering? Would you like that? Because if you would like that, I say namaste. Awesome. Good for you. Enjoy it. If not, then I'm offering that meditation, which is the stopping of the mind and coming into silence, is actually only the first step. Now, let me give I think it's an awesome example. Somebody will think it's crude. I think that's hilarious. If I'm going to get turned on and I'm going to get horny, I don't know about you, but I want to do something about it. My experience with sexuality as a human isn't, oh my God, I just love to be turned on. No, like normally if you get turned on, you want to do something about it, right? Well, I look at meditation exactly the same way. The point of our sexuality isn't to get turned on. The point of living isn't to quiet the damn mind. Quieting the mind is only the very, very, very first step to be able to stop the hell creation and begin to turn your energies in the way that you want to go. So I bypass the whole damn mess. Let's stop our mind from its downward momentum into the downward spiral of hell creation, and simultaneously aim all of the power, all the knowledge, information, and wisdom that's ever been and will ever be, all the insight, all the intuition, all the limitless guidance, all the power that creates universes, which we are. Let's aim it into what we want to experience. I don't want to stop at quieting the mind. So meditation, great. You want to meditate? Please do. I'm just saying for the majority of people, it is really a pointless pursuit. If you could, so I'll sum it up with that question again. Would you rather stop the mind? Or would you rather begin to aim the creation power through your mind into creating and experiencing what you really want to experience? So in that light, meditation is a waste of time.
Great. Beautiful, beautiful answer. So, Santa Claus Brian, what is your gift for us today?
All right. Well, I'm going to do something very unusual. I have got a series of video experiences that we're going to give to all of your listeners. And then I'm going to be doing a live webinar. And because I realize this is evergreen, so there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to see this immediately. And then there's also going to be, a continuum. I'll set this up where we can do it evergreen as well, where I'll do a webinar every month, So we're just going to work with everybody that comes and gets these free videos, and you're going to find, I'm not going to pretend humility here. This is my absolute best work. These videos that you're going to get access to are equivalent to any $1,000, $2,000 course that you're ever going to buy. Some people say even more awesome. I'll leave that up to you. This is not some junk, throwaway freebie. You're going to have a transformational experience if you tune into these videos. And then that'll also get you set up where you get notified of the webinar that we're going to do just for your listeners and viewers. Yeah.
I can't wait. I want to see the videos too. Thank you.
You will.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been one of my favorite interviews. So
I had a blast.
So namaste, dude.
Namaste. Love you, Morgana.
Love you too.